Hello, everyone. Welcome to the online webinar series on the topic Navigating Funding Options for Startups. I'm delighted to have Mr. Devansh Lakhani joining us today. Devansh is Director and Startup Funding Raising Expert at Lakhani Financial Services. Thank you for being here, Mr. Devansh. How are you doing today?
First of all, thank you, Radhika, for inviting me. You and your team at RaiseMoney have been really very, cooperative and coordinating basically with me on this and have been cooperative to host this webinar with me. Thanks a lot for calling me and having me here. I'm doing great, and I hope with this webinar I can add some value to your viewers and listeners.
Definitely. And it's a pleasure to have you. So before moving further,
Thank you.
Devansh, it would be great if you can share your experience with the audience. Like our audience would, really like to know more about you and the experience you hold. So please.
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Devansh Lakhani, as you would have just heard. I'm a chartered accountant by education and an angel investor in startups. I run a boutique investment banking firm called Lakhani Financial Services. We are essentially, specializing in helping early stage startups to raise funds from our network of investors. So what we do is when we are associating with any startup, we help them from the scratch till the end of their funding journey. So we help them with their business plans, their pitch decks, do the valuation, and then connect them with like-minded investors and try to negotiate and close a deal. Having said that, over the last approximately 2.5, 3 years, we've already had 12 startups raise funds from our network of investors. We've worked with 250 plus startups, evaluated 1,000 plus startups. And yeah, so that is what we do. Somewhere try to create an impact in the startup ecosystem through our help and through our work.
That's great, wonderful. So, I believe we should move further with the questions. So, as the topic we have today is navigating funding options, right? So, before that, funding is a crucial aspect for startups, right? And there are various options available in the market. So, to start off, can you please just share your thoughts on bootstrapping, like how it can be the initial stage of funding?
Ah, so it's a very good question. First of all, many people don't uh, take that opportunity to ask this question on bootstrapping, or are not really concerned or want to make their audience or make their listeners aware about bootstrapping. But I think it's the way to go. It's the way to start a business, that is bootstrapping. Bootstrapping means what? Just for people probably who've heard the term first time. Bootstrapping means to invest your own money and to start your business completely by your own self. So there is no outside capital that you take, from professional investors, from HNIs, from angels, from family offices or VCs or whatever, right? No loans that you take, no loans from bank, no loans from anyone else, etc. What bootstrapping means, it is just your own money and maybe your friends and family's money is there, and you can call it still as a bootstrap if they have invested a certain small amount or given you as a loan, something like that, right? You've not taken outside professional capital to kickstart your business or to run your business.
Correct.
That means bootstrapping. I think it's very important for any entrepreneur or a founder who's listening to this to start your journey as a bootstrapped startup. What happens is you can really build your business from the scratch if you're bootstrapped without having any kind of pressure from any investors, any outside capital, without having the pressure to return that money if you've taken any professional loan, to pay any EMIs, to give valuation returns to your investors and your shareholders. There is no pressure. You can build you can build in peace. You can grow in peace. You can hire the team that you want. You can really experiment with your product development. You can explore different marketing strategies, different GTMs,
Correct.
basically. So a lot of things you can do initially at your own, with your own money, with your own, own unit, basically, rather than taking any outside capital, where things become little bit challenging. You have to listen to, if there is a shareholder and he's invested, let's say 25% stake in your company initially, 20, 25%. You have to listen to him. You have to take his opinion. Even if that's not your vision, you might have to sometimes bend and take his decision, and it can override your decision or something like that. I'm not saying it happens or it will happen with you, but there is a huge possibility that it can
Possibility.
happen because it has
Correct.
happened in the past, right,
Yeah.
with many people. So if you don't end up with the right person, there might be these kind of challenges that might come across. So it's better to experiment initially on your own, take it to a certain level from uh, where only if you take any outside capital or outside help, you will be able to scale up 10 times more faster than what you're doing it right now, right?
All
So
right.
I think bootstrapping is very important. Every startup should move towards bootstrapping from initial stage itself, reach a certain level, reach a certain milestone, and then you take any outside help in terms of funding.
Correct, correct. Like it's a excellent explanation, I could say. So, like moving further on the bootstrapping question, like I just want to understand, and for the audience, like how can a founder effectively bootstrap a startup in the initial stages? Like, what can be the steps and what a founder can, how it can be proceeded?
So see, founder, if he wants to start with bootstrapping, it's very simple. It has to be that you are putting in your own money. That is your own skin in the game. Okay. If you don't have your own skin in the game, so it's not called bootstrapping. Now, let's say, for example, a founder is that he wants to start a business into, let's say, some, let's say he's building a company or a startup, and he needs a tech platform and he needs a certain website which can be up and running, and it can, he needs to go to the clients or something, or to customers to pitch his website and to close deals or something like that. Now, if he's going to do that, he needs to put in his own money to build his website, okay, to go to the market, to approach the customers, to probably physically call them up, if he does not want to spend, if he does not have a lot of money, not to take an office, do work from home. This is all a part of bootstrap. You have to
Okay,
really hustle because you don't have any comforts in life. You
correct.
don't have that millions of dollars of any angels or venture capital fund backing you right now. So you really need to hustle. I was just listening to a podcast of Ritesh Agarwal of Oyo Rooms, and
Okay,
he was saying that even in the year 2015-16, when they had raised funds one two times, but that time he had gone to meet the main chairman of SoftBank before they closed the round from SoftBank. Right? It was in probably 2015-16 in Japan.
okay,
Okay, because bank is headquartered in Japan. So he was going to meet someone out there, the main chairman of SoftBank, that is Masayoshi Son. And what he said, uh, he in the podcast, what he told to the interviewer, that when we were going there, it was not that we didn't have a lot of money, like we were funded, we had started scaling up. They had started in 2012, 13 and 2015-16, but they had started scaling up little. So he
hmm,
and his COO, they went to Japan. They stayed in like a budget hotel, a budget room, just shared, like in that one room they shared for both of them, and they traveled in public transport to save money, etc.,
save money.
so
Correct,
that they
correct.
could they could they could save money and meet Mr. Masayoshi Son, in a effective manner. So I think even a company like Oyo, in probably 3 to 4 years of its existence, once it had raised a couple of rounds, even if that founder can think in a bootstrap founder manner, so a bootstrap founder has to think in a bootstrap founder manner. You need to
Correct.
hustle. You need to, let go of the offices, of the expensive phones, or the MacBooks of the world. So these are very basic stuffs. It's just a mindset that you need to shift. Okay, everything needs to go into the business. If it's not helping to get me revenues, it's not helping to build the product, it's not helping to get me the customers, then it's not a cost that I need to incur right now. So that's how you learn to bootstrap in a very frugal manner, I would say, right? These are very, like, you have to be miser, you have to be frugal, you have to spend very carefully. And the number one tip about bootstrapping is that your only source of money is going to be from your customers.
Correct. That
Okay.
okay.
If customers
Customers.
don't
Correct.
pay you, then there's no revenue, there's no money. So VCs any outside investors, even if they give you money, but if customers only don't pay you, so there is no use. So bootstrapping को effective करने के लिए customers need to pay you. You have to find out a strategy by which the customers pay you.
All right, all right. Like I would say, like Devansh, honestly, great insights, and I think we covered a different question here with the previous question. So, like some specific cost-cutting, measures or alternative approaches. Like
Hmm.
apart from that, if you have anything else to add on this particular thing, like if any specific cost-cutting measures, but obviously you have already, given an awesome example of the founder of OYO Rooms, and we like audience will learn a lot from that. It's a proper example where we can see the how they specific cost
Yeah,
cutting measures and the alternative approaches. So
no,
anything else
I
you would like
was
to add on?
no, but I was really I'm like I've never heard or read Ritesh Agarwal's interview before.
Okay.
Never done that, but I don't know yet. Like every morning when I go for a walk, so I like to listen to a podcast. So it just came yesterday, and today I was continuing with the same one. And it was Ritesh Agarwal on it. So first time I listened to him, honestly, I've never heard him before or never seen his interviews also before. I don't know for what reason, but I have never been, never just gone into his any of the podcast or interviews or something. But today when I listened, like I was really left inspired, and I, really want to learn more from a person of his caliber, basically. I never knew that he was like this, so humble, so down to earth, and it was very interesting. I was left inspired, and I'm like, I need to study more on this person. Um, you know, so it was really good.
Yeah, I first of all, I would just like to appreciate, like, just shared one of the good habits with the audience. Like, while going for a walk, we can prefer to listen to, podcasts because obviously you never know what coming your way. Like what
Uh,
we can learn anything from anyone. Like as you mentioned that, you have never heard his podcast before, but from this particular podcast, you like we are using this example actually in this podcast, in this
yeah,
webinar.
of course. Yeah, I mean, he's built one of the largest companies in India, and probably now one of the largest hotel chains. It could become in the next 5 years in the world. So
Correct.
it's something different, and it's something to be proud of that the company is based out of India.
Exactly,
So it's a
exactly.
wonderful thing.
So like taking that thing, like like I would just like to know one thing, like as you mentioned, like when you go for a walk and you listen to podcasts, like will you like do you have any advice, or how can a founder maintain a sustainable work life balance, I would say, because during and prevent the burnout while
Mm,
bootstrapping and bootstrapping the startup, because it's very difficult and each and everyone should have their work life balance. So
yeah.
any suggestions?
I think I don't know if I'm the right person to ask, but whatever I try to do from little bit that I like to do, and like to keep work-life balance. I like to keep myself mentally, emotionally, and physically fit and aware.
That's
Uh,
very important,
is that
actually.
Yeah, it is very important. Is basically the first and foremost thing which most of them don't do, and they have what do you call you know there's a lot of procrastination out there. Is sleeping
Correct.
early and getting up early. So if I were to ask 10 founders, 9 out of 10 founders would be sleeping late, getting up little bit late, or even if they get up early, they are really worn down and torn down because they've slept really late, right? So I think that's the first discipline that needs to come, is to sleep early and to wake up early. That's what I try to do. For me, early is 7 a.m. I try to do a little bit more earlier, but right now it's not happening. I hope it can happen, and I can wake up at 4:30 a.m. also. When I grow a little bit more older and more mature. But
But
that
this is
is
something which
something,
is
and
already in your head. So sorry to interrupt. Like I would like to add, like this is something which you've
yeah,
already decided.
it's
So it comes like in your what do you have in your mind? So like it comes from that only. Like
yeah,
what are
because
you planning for yourself?
you see any of the great people, like you see, if you want to reach a height or you want to reach somewhere, you need to study the greats,
Correct.
And any greats that you see, whether it's Tim Cook, whether it was Steve Jobs, whether it's Akshay Kumar, whether it's Narendra Singh Modi, anyone. So from the prime minister to celebrities to actor and to business tycoons, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, whoever, Ratan Tata ji, whoever is there, they all have this one very common habit of sleeping on time and waking up early. Because the first few hours of the day you need to invest in yourself. You have to be selfish. You have to let go of the phones, of the laptops, of electronics. Be selfish, be self-aware. And if you invest in yourself in those first 1 hour, 2 hour, मेरे से अभी 1 घंटा होता है. First 1 hour I invest in myself by taking a walk, by meditating. For some people, it could be 2 hours if they wake up more early. If I would wake up at 6, I can also give 2 hours to myself. I can go for a walkout, for a jog, then meditate or something. Read a newspaper, whatever. So first 1 to 2 hours needs to be to yourself, so that there is no phone. Even if I'm on the podcast, just to take my example only, it's just to open the podcast, earphones in my plug, and then the phone is locked. Then I don't touch the phone. I listen to it for 25 minutes. So I think that if you do that initially, first part, that first 1.5 hour of the day, then you've given that time to yourself, and that's very important
Correct.
when you are in such a busy world. And then at the night, also you tend to try to read 10, 12 pages of a book. That's what at least I do. For someone, it could be something else. You could, watch some video on YouTube, which is about personal growth, development, about business strategies, sales, marketing for a startup founder, you know. And another thing, so one is morning, one is night, how you need to, don't go on social media before sleeping, right? So it again impacts your head and your mind when you sleep. And another thing is, I think, sticking and meeting and probably connecting with your friends, which are probably your childhood friends or your close friends, your family, maybe your spouse, talk to them more often, share ideas. I think it really helps you to, get different perspectives. When you meet your old friends, you really, just chill, have a different vibe altogether, and it's just play and musty. There's no serious talks. If you have a spouse, so between even me and my wife, that is what we try to do, share different ideas, talk on technology, share different things that we learned daily. So what happens is it gives different perspectives about people. You trying to improve, and it's nothing serious work, right? It's just about what you read, what you learned, something new in your work. So something
Correct.
like that with your parents you can do, with your siblings you can do. So it helps you to keep your emotional and mental check, that balance in check, basically, if you are doing these few things little bit, and then 9-10 hours तो देना ही है startup को, तो वो देते रहने का.
वो तो है. It's just, in bootstrapping it gets difficult, right? Obviously, like you have to just, you are your own. I would say.
Yeah, you are on your own. So even when I started, it was completely on your own. You have to find mentors who can mentor you. uh, it's difficult because I have always got mentored by certain online mentors who are not from India, who are from outside India. So I rigorously watched their videos, listened to their podcasts, read their books, which has probably instilled some skill sets into me which were not there probably before I started LFS. So it is getting some mentor from where whom you can learn. And now you can get online mentors free. Like, you just need to find that right one person, that video of that one person who strikes with you, right? And that had stuck with me 3 years back, and then I continuously watch his videos, read his books. I just got his one new book only, so it's his old book, but I got it right now. He had published it 7 years back, but I just bought it right now. So you have to
Yes, never
find
too
that
late.
someone. No, I keep reading books, but I've read his already 3 books. His name is Grant Cardone. He's from
Okay.
US. So I've read his three books. This is his fourth book, which I've called for now. So whichever I feel, then I keep watching his videos, read books, listen to his podcast. It is a different thing, then you
Correct.
have to
No
get
doubt on that. No doubt.
inspired. You, yeah, you have to get inspired by someone whom you can look up to, where you want
Exactly.
to.
That's like no doubt on that. Like how mentors and play not only what role do they play in your startup journey, but in your life as well. Like no
Yeah,
doubt on that. We should have everyone should have that one person to whom that person can look up to.
absolutely, absolutely.
So yes.
Yes.
So like obviously Devansh, I would say like it was mix and match session. Like we talked not only a little bit about bootstrapping, but obviously we'll be having more such questions on bootstrapping, but which we will be covering in the next webinars and the next episodes. So for now, like I just thank you and for coming here and just giving the valuable contribution. The insights you provided will undoubtedly, answer the founders' questions and on bootstrapping. Not only on bootstrapping, we in fact talked about some of the, base questions like how to maintain the work-life balance. So let's continue that in the next series, and we will see you soon.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Radhika and Raise Money team for having me here. Thank you.
Again, it's a pleasure. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good day.